a video. It is titled, He Is Not Your Man If, okay? The reason for the title is because more recently, some crazy nutcase, delusional female came up into one of my live videos the other day while I was literally doing a reading, right in the middle of reading. And, I was thinking, should I tell you guys which one it is? And you know what? The heck with it. They came into the cancer reading, the timeless cancer reading. And, they was all like, at first I'm like, is somebody trolling? Because they did this towards the end, like 50 minutes in towards the end. And I saw a glance at the chat and somebody was like, stop sending messages to my man. Somebody named True Life was like, stop sending messages to my man. And I was like, did I just see somebody accuse me of trying to get at their man or whatever, But, I'm doing the reading, flipping cards and da da da. And then they, I didn't respond. I was kind of like, huh? So they said it again. And so I caught it for sure that second time, because the first time I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm saying. Second time, I catch it again. And that time I was like, let me just take a moment. And I'm like apologetic to the audience. I'm like, hold on, you guys. Let me just look at the chat real quick. And yeah, it's exactly what I thought it was. Some desperate female talking about stop sending messages to my man. And I said, what? I'm kind of laughing because I'm kind of like, okay, you're obviously trolling because I don't know what you're talking about. And the other people in the chat was like, yeah, they're probably trolling. They're probably trolling. They're likely just trolling. It's a troll. And I'm like, yeah, it has to be, because I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And then the clown replies saying, no, she knows who I am, yada, yada. And I'm only going to say this once. Stop sending messages to my man. And at that point, I'm like, okay, like, I don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't know who the heck that was. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, you can't, but I'm thinking in my head, you can't even come in here with your real name. You can't even tell me who your real, what your real name is. And I can't think of any situation where I'm just sitting up here contacting somebody else's man. I really can't. So I'm just like, I don't know who this is. I don't know what they're talking about. I will say this, and I will say this to the person who did it because they probably still trolling around. I don't know. But this is also to be a teachable lesson for the rest of you out here, okay? Because this was just beyond crazy. That girl was like, "Well, I'm gonna call you," and I said, "Call me." She never called. She never called because I was ready for her to call right then and there in the middle of reading. Like, go ahead and call me. Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't have the guts. They didn't have the guts. They were, just there to run their mouth, and they probably was a troll. They probably was. But I have a feeling maybe it was also, I mean, it could have been somebody drunk. It could have been somebody drunk and they were just delusional. You know what I'm saying? And losing their mind over some dude. So this is what I want to say to you ladies out here. And this can go the same for the men. Anytime you are feeling that insecure to the point where you do not trust your partner and you feel like you have to approach other people that you think are trying to get at your boo, then they not your man. They don't belong to you. They don't. Um Fellas, that's not your lady. If you feel like you got to approach some dudes to let them know, hey, stay away from my chick, stay away from my woman. You know what I'm saying? Because let me just say this: it is not your place to be having to go around and snooping in people's phones, snooping in people's apps, um, or having to look over their shoulder, or having to observe because I don't know if, maybe you're observing some inappropriate behavior, or maybe, like I said, a lot of times I think it's coming from somebody being very insecure. And I think whoever this was, extremely insecure, and for whatever reason they felt threatened by somebody. Because like I said, I still don't know who that is and what they're talking about. But whatever the case is, they must be feeling very threatened and very insecure. And if you are feeling that threatened or insecure, whether it is real or imagined, I don't care if you've seen something in your boo's phone or the person you like phone. I don't care if you've seen them behave a certain way or see other people behave a certain way with them. Or maybe, like I said, you could just be feeling insecure. So, like I said, whether it's real or imagined, it's not for you to be going to other people saying, stay away from my such and such. Okay? It is the person you're with. It is up to them to set the boundaries and to establish that, hey, I'm with somebody, and this person wouldn't feel comfortable with me talking to you, or I just don't feel like it's appropriate for us to be talking, or whatever. Okay. And that's if it really is something inappropriate going on, or this person just doesn't feel comfortable with talking with the opposite sex, or being cool with opposite sex because they feel it's a threat or to the relationship, because it may make the other person feel insecure, or they don't trust themselves. It's one or the other. And it's okay for people to set those boundaries. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a relationship and you don't trust yourself to have associations with opposite gender, opposite sex, then by all means cut the opposite gender and opposite sex off, and just don't have any associations, friendships, or whatever with them. Okay. And if somebody is your real friend, they will respect that, they will honor that. Okay. Even if they don't like it, they will respect it, they will honor it. But you have to let that person, you have to let these people know, hey, I'm in a relationship, hey, I'm married, hey, this and that and other. You can't expect people to guess, you can't expect people to assume. Even if they are assuming, you can't expect them to respect a boundary that you didn't clearly set. Okay. So, but for those of you, like I said, you feel like you don't trust your boo around whoever, it's not up to you. It's up to that person that you're with to establish boundaries. Maybe they don't know there's boundaries they need to establish. So you need to talk to them. You go to them. You don't go to somebody else who's not in your relationship, who may not even know who you are or whatever, and getting upset with them or trying to make threats to them. You don't get the ball somebody else. What somebody else do is their business. They are adults. You know what I'm saying? They could choose to do whatever they want to do. And they may or may not know what's going on in your situation. They may not even know that you really with this person. They may not know you with somebody. They may not know that you are their boo and y'all in a relationship. They may not know because your person may have not told them. You know what I'm saying? That you guys don't never think about that. And I'm not saying you guys per se. I'm just saying a lot of times people, they never think about that. They just always assume that other people are the ones destroying the relationship, or why their boo is losing interest in them. They always assume that, and it's like, no, you're assuming that everybody knows what's going on in your life when they don't necessarily know. The only way other people are going to know is if you tell the people you know, and they tell the people they know and encounter. You see what I'm saying? That's the only way people are going to know. Or maybe if they see a ring on the hand or something like that. But if somebody you're with doesn't think it's important enough for them to tell other people, then maybe it's not a threat. Maybe that interaction is not a threat. Maybe that person's not a threat. Maybe this person trusts themselves. Maybe this person know they're not going to cross any boundaries. Or maybe this person is okay with crossing those boundaries. Maybe this person is losing interest and taking interest in someone else. But that's for you to go to your boo and discuss this with them and find out where their head is at and what's really going on. Don't ever go to somebody else, because that ain't your man or your woman if you have to do that. Okay? You done already lost the race. You done already lost if you have to do that. They not yours, period. They not your man if if you have to control and dictate who they talk to. it's up to them, to, like I said, to establish those boundaries. And if they have friends that they had before they met you, or they had and got into that relationship with you, you know what I'm saying? If they had friends they already had, or people they already knew before they jumped into a commitment or a relationship with you, then you likely don't get to say anything about their friendships, unless you suspect, and I mean you have some real solid evidence that their friendship or whatever has crossed boundaries before, or are probably already crossing boundaries. Or maybe, and this is a big maybe, if you know they had more history beyond friendship, then maybe you might say, I'm not comfortable with you guys still kicking it or being cool. But you need to take that to your boo and let your boo establish those boundaries with whoever. And if that other person is a decent person, they'll understand it and they'll respect it. They may not like it, but they will. But if ain't nobody said nothing to nobody, then that's a problem you have with your boo. Does it have a, it's not for the other person, because the other person may not know that y'all have anything going on. Two, if you have to do weird stuff, like going into somebody's live chat, and I mean, that's not the place to do it. That's just not the place to do it. You know, um, they're not your boo. You know what I'm saying? They're not your boo. If you have to look over your boo's shoulder and be looking in their phone when they're not around or when they're asleep, if you gotta pick up their phone at all at any point in that relationship to do anything other than take pictures together, because maybe you don't have your phone on hand, or maybe they have a better camera or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, it has to be a very, very valid reason that you got their phone in your hand. Maybe they handed you the phone and say, babe, can you look this up for me? Or babe, can you talk to such and such? Or, here, use my camera because it's better. Or here, use my phone because it's better. Other than that, if you're picking up their phone just to be picking it up, looking through it, being nosy, you have already lost. Okay? You've already lost. That's not your boo. That ain't your man. That ain't your woman. Because you don't trust them and you're crossing a boundary your doggone self. Okay? Um, what else can I bring up? These are the most crucial in this moment. I may make this a series, and as I come across other things or maybe other situations, I'll bring it up to you. I know there's a million other things I could say, but these two are the most crucial, because it really bothers me when people do these kind of things. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it's just nuts to me. It's just too much. And I'll just say this. I done been there and I done done that. Okay. I done been there, I done done that. I've been with two cheaters, two serial cheaters that were also habitual liars, you know? Um, and for different reasons, I stayed. One of them I was head over heels in love with, and I was young. I was very young at the time. So I just didn't know any better. The other one, it was a very, very, very complicated situation. Very, a lot of legal stuff, okay, and a child involved. So different situation. It wasn't, oh, I'm head over heels, or oh, I was too young. No, very, 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 very complicated situation. But even then, I set boundaries between us, like, okay, we separated then because you're doing the most. But I'm just gonna say this. Once I realized a long time ago, I did this, and I can preach this mess. I can preach it. It's not even mess. I can preach it though, because I made the same mistake. So this is not coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of understanding and wanting to empower people, especially women, and wanting to help people get the wake up calls that they may have not received yet, but really, really need. Okay, because like I said, with another ex that I was head over heels in love with, I was young. um I literally made the same mistake. Anonymously called a female friend of his because I had a feeling this is where he was at. This is where he had disappeared to. This is why he was acting funny. And, she answered, and she was, and so we talked. We talked. Um, but, I told her, stop talking to my man or stop seeing him, this and that, yada, yada, yada. And she said, well, honey, he's not your man if you have to call me wondering where he's at and you're telling me this. And the thing about it is, I didn't get upset with her. I didn't get upset with her. I didn't feel it made any sense to. I actually got her drift. I actually understood where she was coming from. It was literally just her giving me confirmation of what I needed to know. And it was pretty much, like I said, her just giving me a reality check that, what are you doing? You don't have to be doing all this. You don't have to be doing all this. Like, if you have to do all this, you already lost the race. Because technically, you should know where he's at, right? She didn't say this, but this was the logic. You should know where he's at. You should trust him. And he shouldn't be deceiving you anyway. You know what I'm saying? He should make himself trustworthy. He should be there. You should know where he's at. And if he's not even there, you should know where he's at. You know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't have to worry about this kind of stuff. You know, that was the logic that I pulled out of those comments that she made to me. You know what I'm saying? Anybody else probably would have got upset, but I'm intelligent enough to understand and get the message. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have to go into detail, but that's what I got out of it. And after that point, I never went out of my way, if I'm in an actual relationship with somebody, to, if they're, you know, going through these kind of changes, to be contacting some other woman talking about leave my dude alone. No. The only time after that I've ever contacted another woman out of a dude's phone that I was with is to let the other woman know, hey, heads up, the reason you haven't heard from him, because one time one time, like I said, it was like, dude had all kind of messages coming through his phone. Okay, all kinds of messages coming through his phone from different people, different women, wanting to know where he was at. It was women. And this was like over a period of time, and I just had to let them know, like, because I felt bad for him. And so I was like, look, this is not him. This is actually his girlfriend, or this is actually his whatever. And you haven't heard from him because he's in a relationship with me. He's with me. I don't know if he let you know that, but this is why he ghosted you. And so I'm just letting you know so that you're not left wondering, or you're not left hanging on, or you're not thinking is something wrong with you, or thinking, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like that's the least I could do. Did I have to do it? No, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, that particular time, I just couldn't help but notice their phone was off the chain. Their phone was off the chain. And I don't remember if it was one of those things where they left their phone by accident or what. But their phone was off the chain, and this one particular person just kept hitting them up. And it was like, to the point where I thought the girl was going to like harm herself or something. And I think that must be the reason why I responded, because she was like losing her mind, like literally. And I was like, I just let her know, hey, it's not you, it's them. And I'm sorry they didn't tell you, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And then she actually was like, oh, I didn't know, blah. And, I actually tried to give her some comfort, because I'm like, I just kind of understood. But, and I'll say this, when you see, this is another thing that you need to pay attention to. When you see those red flags, if somebody did not take the time, and this is because I'm going to tell you this because I was younger then also when this happened. These are mistakes I would never make now. if you're with somebody or you're dating them and they were too messy to clearly in situations with other people before they started talking to you, dating you, or getting in a relationship with you, that's a big, big red flag or red sign. You should run from that person, that situation, that relationship. Okay? Me at the time, being a psychology student, I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to understand everybody. No, that was a big red flag. That, hey, this guy ghosted another chick. Ghosted another chick. And while they may have not been seeing this person, why couldn't they have just told that person, hey, um, I'm moving on. I'm interested in dating somebody else, or I am dating somebody else. I'm sorry. Why couldn't they close that door first? And why couldn't they do it respectfully and considerately and with some kind of concern or care for that person's feelings? They didn't even close the door. They had this girl wondering, where the heck is he? Where is he? Why haven't I heard from him? She was worried. She was stressed. Then it started affecting her self-esteem because she thinking it's her and this and that and other. And oh, this son is kicking my butt. This son is doing too much. This son is doing too much. Let me see if I can get up out of this. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. I love sunshine, but this is too much. Too much. Let me because I don't want to make this too long either. And by the way, you guys, speed this video up. Go to the right hand corner of the screen and click on the three dots of this YouTube video, and that's the menu settings. Click on speed, and then the speed settings, and then click on 1.5x or 2x, so it will play faster, and you can hear everything I'm saying, but you hear me talking faster, so you get to watch the video in half the amount of time. Okay. Anyway, so back to what I was saying, like, yeah, at the time I didn't pay attention to big red flags like that, hey, they didn't properly end the situation with this person before they got into a situation with me. And maybe they weren't in a relationship with them, but they could have probably had at least been dating them or seeing them enough to the point where they were just like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe she just didn't take a hint that it was a one night, maybe it was a one night stand. I don't know. I didn't get that far into it with, wasn't trying to get details from her. I was just trying to, give her a heads up, let her know so she wouldn't keep wasting her time and so that she wouldn't be thinking it was something wrong with her and be worried and yada yada. Okay. But run away from people who there's other people still hitting them up because they're wondering what happened to them, why they're not seeing them anymore, why they cut off the situation or why they ghosted them. They're wondering, why they did something hurtful or whatever, because that person, they should had already resolved all that. If they hurt somebody, they should have apologized already. If they lost interest, they should have just let that person know they lost interest and they want to see other people. It may hurt, but they need to do the right thing. If they're dating somebody else, they should just tell them, hey, you know what, it's been fun, but I am interested in dating somebody else and I want to do the right thing. I don't want to be leading you on and also leading this person to think that I'm only, you know what I'm saying? People just need to be honest. And if a person didn't take the time to properly in situations in a positive, peaceful, respectful manner, that's a big red flag and you should just run the other way. Okay? Because 9 times out of 10, if they did it to somebody else, they're going to do it to you. Can people make mistakes and change? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. But it is definitely something to consider. You know what I'm saying? Because this can be a habit for somebody. It can be a habit. On top of that, it's a cowardly thing to do. It's a very cowardly thing to do to ghost people. It's a cowardly thing to do to play people, and you don't give people proper closure, or you don't tell people the truth as to why, or you don't tell, or you know what I'm saying? Sometimes dudes will try to hang on to other people. They'll try to hang on to other women almost as if it's a backup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to tell this person that I'm seeing somebody else or I'm involved with somebody else. I'm just going to try to keep them as a friend or just let them think whatever, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why sometimes they don't resolve situations or properly close them out as they're involved or getting involved with somebody else. And it's just a big red flag. Can people change? Yes. Can people mature? Yes. Goodness grief, the light is just like going back and forth, back and forth. Like, stop it. Um, you know, people will make mistakes, and we're not always who we were yesterday. Okay, we are not necessarily always our mistakes. You know, but it's people need to pay attention. People seriously need to pay attention to people's patterns, ways, or behaviors, or the mistakes that they make that they could have avoided if they chose to take the high road in the first place. It's a thing called integrity. Nobody is perfect. And I understand sometimes situations are complicated. So sometimes people, they have a hard time managing and maneuvering their personal lives because sometimes situations are complicated. They really are. But and maybe sometimes people are afraid to tell people things because they are afraid of hurting people's feelings. But the adult thing to do, the mature thing to do is to just be honest with people, even if it's going to hurt people's feelings um, or it's going to be hard to do or hard to explain. Because if people don't do that, it leaves a mess and it leaves a residue, and it doesn't make any sense. But you guys, please don't just accept any old thing. Please don't. Don't be hard up for no man to the point where you're willing to go after another woman, or dudes, you going after another man. This is rare to see a man ever do this. And I'm going to tell you why. Men got better sense, I think, than women sometimes. Us women got to start having better common sense. It's not that men don't be playing boo boo the fool. Sometimes men do it too, but women, we do this way too often. Don't go after another woman, because once you do that, you literally have reached the point of desperation. You have. And I'm not, everybody at some point may have reached that point. Um, Maybe some haven't, maybe because they have more pride than others. But there comes a point where you have to have pride enough in yourself to say, you know what, that's a low point, and I'm not going to go there because you've already lost the race. You've already lost the game. You've already lost that person. If you really want to know, if you have to do that nonsense, okay? Because that means you don't trust that person you're with. And that person you with may not actually be trustworthy. And you know this. But instead, you trying to get through to the other person. If you have to guard what you have because it doesn't, because, you know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't already been established that you can trust the person, then you don't have a relationship. You don't. You have a hassle on your hands. You have a liability on your hands, and you have stress that you are just going to keep encountering over and over again. Because if it happens in one situation, you think it won't happen again? No, it will keep happening. It'll keep happening. There's a song by Keisha Cole and Missy Elliott, and the lyrics is love him the right way. Wait. Yeah. How the lyrics go? Love him the right way if he don't wanna something like no. Basically, what the lyrics is going is, if he wants to be with you, then he will be with you. If he's elsewhere or talking to somebody else, it's not about where he's at, is where he's want to be. It's about where he wants to be. You can't make nobody love you. You can't make nobody respect you. You can't make anybody be loyal to you. They either are or they aren't. And if somebody's loyal to you, somebody respects you, they love you, and they're loyal to you, they're doing so because they want to. And they're doing so because they really love you and they have the discipline. Okay? If they always got a roaming eye, if they are always seeking attention elsewhere, if they always got their foot out the door, if they're always looking for the next person to jump to before they can even get out of a situation with you, then that's not your boo. You already lost. And I'm gonna tell you something. How you get them is how you lose them. And sometimes some of y'all, you get ghosted or you get cheaters and you don't even know that when you got them, they were cheating on somebody else or they were ghosting somebody else when you got them. And that's not your fault. That's not your fault. But when you start seeing those signs that they're doing that same stuff with you, that ain't your fault either. That's on them. But learn to let go. You know what I'm saying? Learn to let go because it's not going to get any better. You can't, you can try all kind of little tactics, all kind of little things to try to hold on to somebody. You can do voodoo and witchcraft. That ain't going to last. It actually will backfire on you. Just so y'all know. You can try to blackmail somebody with a kid. You can try to blackmail them you can try to give them all kinds of good and cookies, whatever it is, put it down the bedroom all you want. But if they have a roaming eye and that's just who they are, or they losing interest in you, just take it for what it is and let it go. And I'm speaking from experience. It is what it is. Halle Berry was considered to be, and to me she still is, one of the most beautiful women in the world. At one point, she was on whatever magazine that was, listed as the most beautiful woman in the world. Halle Berry is gorgeous. Her husband Eric Benet, her ex-husband Eric Benet, still cheated on her at the height of her career when everybody wanted a piece of her. Okay, he still cheated on her. Why? It wasn't her, and she even admitted in the interview she thought, she worried and she thought it was her, and she tried to control the situation. At the end of the day, she realized she had to let him go because at the end of the day, it was nothing she could do about it. It was either she accept the behavior and just keep her mouth hush and deal with it, or she just let it go and understand that she deserved better, you know? And that's something else I'll say. If you with somebody who got a Roman eye, they're a player, they're a womanizer, a cheater. Fellas, same thing for you with women. If you got a flirt, somebody that's a hussy or somebody that's always got to, trying to get attention or whatever, you know what I'm saying, cheating, whatever. Know who you're with and know what it is that you are willing to accept, either because you feel like you love them this much and you got to have them, or and set your standards. And your standards is either you don't care what it is that they do, long as they loving you the way you want to be loved, and you stay, or you just let them go because you realize you can't accept this. But you cannot make somebody be loyal to you. You cannot change someone's pattern of behavior if that's who they are. Some people literally, they're natural flirts and they're going to always flirt with other people. Some people, they are just freaking cheaters, and they will always be cheaters. They will always be roamers. They will always want to, to dip elsewhere. They will always want attention from elsewhere. For some of them people, they got self-esteem issues. For some of them, they're bored. Some of them, they fool the devil. Some of them, they're immature. Some of them, they could have been molested when they were young, and it put a sex addiction in them. Others of them, they have whatever psychological issues that they have. Some of them, they're narcissists. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, it's learned behavior. If their parent was like that, it didn't have to be both of them. It could be just one of their parents. Like if it's a dude, their father could have been a womanizer, a player, a cheater. You know what I'm saying? And they may not even be aware of this, that they picked that habit up from that particular father, for that particular parent, that father. Maybe because their mother didn't make them aware of it, because they hid it from them, because they wanted their child to always be able to respect their father or whatever, whatever it is, it's something that person can only recover, change, and heal from through their own desire to do so, and through self-discipline, and through For some people, it's going to take them going to God, taking that to God, and literally putting in the effort. Some of them, they're going to need literal therapy. They're going to need to sit down with a therapist, because somebody else's behavior is not necessarily a result of your behavior or a result of who you are. For some, for a small portion of you, you may just not be that great. But I doubt it for many of you. For many of you, I just seriously doubt it that it's you that's the problem. For most of you should understand you're good enough. You're good enough. And that other person, they just have their issues and they need help. Or they need to just not be in any committed relationships because that's just who they are. Some people, they allow themselves to get pressure into something instead of just being honest with who they are. And sometimes those people, they want to date a higher caliber person, but they don't want to give that person what is required, which is commitment, you know. And sometimes they don't want to lose that person, so they will literally just like allow themselves to be pressured to commit, but they still have the habit, and that they'll end up eventually cheating or whatever. You know what I'm saying? um you just got to know who you're with from the start. And sometimes you're going to know, sometimes you don't. But a lot of times the red flags are there. It's just people choose to ignore them. And sometimes people ignore them because they're young, they're naive, they don't know any better. Other times people ignore them because they think they're going to be the one to change that person. They think they're going to be the ones to make a difference. They think they love is going to change that person. They think the sex is going to change that person. They think, you know what I'm saying, if they stay on top of things, they can just regulate who this person is dealing with. No, trust me, people who are cheaters, people who have habits of seeking attention from others, they will find whatever it is they're looking for without you even knowing or being able to do anything about it. So don't ever think that I cannot believe I can't hold on, y'all. I just can't hold on. I just can't. Okay, y'all, I should have been did that. I should have been just closed the blinds or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Oh my god, the lighting ain't never right. Here I go again. But it's okay. Just know this, because I'm about to end this anyway. Um, Lord. Just know this. It's not you necessarily, it's them. The only time it's you is if you are just an absolute ugly person inside who is a BITC, space that out H, okay? And y'all know what I'm talking about. Every now and then you get somebody that they're just awful. And they nag, they yell, they complain. And by the way, I'm going to tell y'all this also. Ladies, if you have to nag your boo, if you have to nag them and, like I said, be all on they behind, they not yours. They not your man. You just a temporary option for them. You just got a hassle on your hands, and you wasting your time and you biding your time trying to hold on to them as hard as you have to. You know what I'm saying? Um, but no matter what, no matter what, you can be sweet as pie. You can be sweet as pie and be all super supportive and be real passive and let them do what they want. Whatever it is, if they got a roaming eye, they got a roaming eye. If they lost interest in you, then they lost interest in you. If they're a cheater, they're a cheater. And if you don't trust them, they could be none of those things. They could be none of those things. They could be a good, loyal person. But if you don't trust them because you're insecure ASF, okay, then they not yours, because you're not ready. You're not ready. You don't have a relationship if there is no trust. Okay, that's something else I learned a long time ago. You don't have a relationship without trust. You just don't. Okay, especially marriage if you're married. Okay, so this is coming up on 40 minutes. Hopefully y'all had sense enough to speed this up, or maybe you learned something from this. You got something out of this. But I'm going to be doing some more videos on my channel. I have some other videos, you know what I'm saying? I got all kind of videos on this channel. This one is considered a life coaching one. I also have tarot videos and stuff like that. Peace. Comment if you like, especially if you have the username True Life and you're the one that came into my chat acting crazy. Um, I definitely want to hear from you because, honey, maybe I could help you out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can give you some life coaching sessions. You know what I'm saying? My background is psychology. Now, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I have a whole lot of empathy. I'm a good listener, and I usually give pretty good, solid advice to people. So I'm here for you, boo. If you need somebody to talk to because you don't trust your boo, whoever you are, because I think you were drunk and you were gravely mistaken coming into my chat talking about I know who you are and what you talking about and I'm supposedly messaging your man. Um, yeah, you were gravely confused, okay? But you never did call like you said you was gonna call me. I waited, you didn't call. So but if you need some help, I'm here for you. Okay. Otherwise, I suggest you get a therapist. And you get some self-esteem. You learn to love yourself so that you're not ever making a fool out of yourself like that ever again because you literally made a fool out of yourself. It was like that was like ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I was laughing in there to some degree, and I really thought you had to been trolling, because that's crazy. That's crazy. It's all right. Peace, y'all.